Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my round 9 AFL tips. We're going to keep it nice and simple here. Starting off on Thursday night, Carlton versus Melbourne at the MCG, which is actually tonight. This is going to be an interesting game. It is Carlton's home ground, technically speaking, or home game. But, obviously Melbourne are great at the G. Carlton's defence, this is a game of opposites. Carlton have had great scoring power this year, but defensively, they have been horrendous. Melbourne, conversely, have been brilliant defensively this season, but attacking-wise, scoring-wise, not so great. So it's going to be a battle of offense versus defense versus offense. It should be really interesting. I do think Carlton will get over the line on the basis that if they're the team, if they are as good as they think they are, then they can't be losing to Melbourne. At home as well. Their percentage is not even 110 and they're in 8th place. So I think Carlton will win that. But who knows? Let's go with Carlton by around 25 points. Pretty comfortable. Geelong put Adelaide at GMHBA on Friday night. Geelong get over the line pretty well, easy. I would say Port Adelaide have loads of injuries and Geelong are just looking like the much more settled and better team. We're going to go with Geelong by 45 points. I think that'll be a simple victory for them. Fremantle, Sydney play each other also on Friday night at Optus Stadium. I don't know why there's 2 Friday night games, but this game is far more interesting in my opinion. Yes, Geelong, Port Adelaide, 2 top 8 sides. But Fremantle, Sydney are both also 2 top 8 sides. And it's Fremantle's home ground in Perth. It should be really interesting to see how Sydney approach this. Once again, you've got Sydney, who are one of the best scoring teams in the comp. And then Fremantle are one of the best defensive teams in the comp. A little bit like Carlton, Melbourne. This is a game where Fremantle will be trying not to concede and Sydney will be trying to kick many points. I do think Sydney match up pretty well against Fremantle. And for that reason, I will go with a Sydney victory. We're going to go Sydney away from home by 12 points. Narrow margins. Hawthorn, St Kilda next in Tasmania. This is tough. St Kilda are definitely the better team. But Hawthorn, you could argue, are in a little bit better form. Both coming off a win, but Hawthorn's more impressive against the Dogs. It is Hawthorn's home ground. They play Tasmania better. Surely St Kilda win. I think St Kilda win. And I love Hawthorn and I rate Hawthorn a lot, but everything's telling me St Kilda will win. I think St Kilda are a much better team than 14th place. But if they lose this game to Hawthorn, then it could be game over, season over for them already. And we're only in round fucking 9, which is crazy. So I got to wake myself up. So we're going to go with a St Kilda victory. I have an agenda against St Kilda and an agenda for Hawthorn. I always tip Hawthorn, I never tip Saints, but I feel like, I don't know, who's favourites here? St Kilda favourites to win, and I think St Kilda probably will win. Essendon GWS at Marvel Stadium. I'm going with... Oh, fuck. Shit, this is hard. Tom Green, I think, might be fit, but I'm not entirely sure. I think we'll find out later. Wow, this is a tough one. I want to go with Essendon, but if Essendon win, they overtake the Giants on the ladder. And Essendon will be top 4, and that just doesn't make sense to me. How can Essendon be in top 4 after round 9? In terms of matchups, if Tom Green doesn't play, I think the Giants will really struggle. They rely a lot on Tom Green. They really can't afford to play without him. He's their best midfielder. And Essendon has some pretty good midfielders. I'm just looking at the injury list here. It says ankle test for Tom Green. So I'm not entirely sure. They've lost Callum Brown to suspension. They're looking relatively weak. And conversely, if you look at Essendon, they don't have really bad injuries at the moment. I would say no key players, very key players are injured. Ridley might be coming back as well, who's the biggest injury, which could be a massive get for them. I really want to go with Essendon. I really do. But I just think they're not as good as people think. And that's why I'm going to go with the Giants despite all the injuries and suspensions. We'll go the Giants win by 12 points. Again. 2 points actually. Fuck it. Small margins. Richmond take on the Dogs at the MCG. Look, the Dogs realistically, the Dogs will beat us. Realistically. Of course they will. The Dogs, I think they'll respond from last week. I expect them to respond. You know, they're on and off, week on, week off. And unfortunately, Richmond are playing them when they're coming off a loss, which just means they're more likely to respond. I really want to back the boys in, but against Fremantle, we look diabolical. But I'm going to back the boys in. And we're going to fucking win. Despite everything my brain's telling me, my heart says we're going to win this shit. And we will beat the Dogs. And Luke Beveridge will get the sack. So we're going to go with the Richmond win by 3 points. Close game there. Gold Coast, North Melbourne. Gold Coast home ground. Gold Coast win by... Choose random points from 80 to 100. Let's go with 70 points. Not 80. 80 is a bit much. 70 points. Easy victory there for Gold Coast. Collingwood West Coast. Back in the day, this game would have been amazing. It's at Marvel Stadium. One of the great rivalries in AFL football. But unfortunately, one team's brilliant right now. And one team's not brilliant. And Collingwood is the brilliant team. And for that reason, I think Collingwood easily defeat West Coast here. I think West Coast are falling back into the lull. And that'll be probably a 70, 80 point win as well. Let's go with 71 points. A little bit more than the Gold Coast victory. And lastly, I think you got probably one of the hardest games to predict. Adelaide-Brisbane. Both have been pretty poor this year. Both are 3 wins. Adelaide coming off a great win against Port Adelaide in the Derby. Brisbane coming off a great win against Gold Coast in the Derby. It is at Adelaide Oval, but Brisbane are the better team. I think Brisbane are in form. Brisbane... Yeah, this one's really hard to predict, but I am going to narrowly give it to the Brisbane Lions because I think the Adelaide Crows are getting lucky with their set shot accuracy at the moment, and I think Brisbane, after that Gold Coast win, they just look really dominant, and I expect them to win. So we're going to go with them by, let's go with 25 points. Comfortable victory. And that's probably going to put Adelaide out of the finals race yet again. And that's the round. That's like, there's some good games there, but, you know, the Giants-Essendon game, Essendon could easily win that. I think Hawthorn could beat St Kilda. Fremantle could beat Sydney. Melbourne could beat Carlton. Brisbane could lose to Adelaide. And the Dogs probably will beat Richmond. But they're my tips. Let me know in the comments what your tips are. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Follow the TikTok as well.